nice to get a variety. West Michigan has got so much to offer in the martial arts. You know, a lot of people think they got to go to Asia to learn this stuff, but we've got instructors all over. We've covered with our show from Holland, Grand Rapids, and Muskegon. We've got tremendous skill in this area for people who want to take a class. I recommend, if you're going to look at and get into the class, go and watch it a few times. Get the philosophy and the attitude of the instructor. Get a feeling for that. They're not all of this caliber, and you're looking for something where the attitude is real critical, or people get hurt. Everybody's here is trying to help each other, and that's what's critical. Nobody's out there trying to be a bully and push somebody around, and it all comes from the instructor's attitude. So watch it, check out your class close before you join it. And check out this one if you're in Grand Rapids. This is well worth looking at.
Let it go. Most of the time we're stopping ourselves from getting it. Let it go.
I need to change the time.
Yes, ma'am. So I grab you. Here, you do your floating elbow lock. Nice and easy. The gentleman to the left is Master Owl Cole. That is my instructor. He's a Jeto Kwan liaison and a executive advisor to the Kwan for the United States. The guy next to him is the founder of Taekwondo, Han Mu Kwan. His name is Lee Kyu-hyun. He's a chief advisor for the High Dan Committee of Kwan. The guy next to him is Grandmaster Beck. He's a 9th Dan, very famous coach in South Korea and referee, and he is the headmaster for Dongdaemun Seoul Taekwondo Gym, and that guy to the right is myself, just a baby compared to those guys. Happy to be there. Okay, just a little background on the Hapkido that we're associated with. There's many different types of Hapkido. At our school, we just choose to say Korean Hapkido. This gentleman here is Grandmaster Che Young-sul. He is the founder of Hapkido. One of his students, a gentleman named Jihan Jae, actually founded the name, but Che Young-sul, many people consider him the founder of Hapkido. He actually learned Daido-ryu Aki Jiu-Jitsu when he lived in Japan, and he brought it back to Korea. And some of his students added a lot of the kicking techniques and cane and weapons and different things that the Kung Fu style motions that you see into the Hapkido. One of his major students was Grandmaster Sun Suh, or In Sun Suh. For over 30 years, he was the president of the Korea Kido Federation or Association in South Korea. For a while there, that was the premier organization in South Korea that was registered by the government. They say Saranbap-in. This means non-profit organization. So unlike in the States or some other countries, in South Korea, just not anybody can open up a school. You have to have a license from the government. The license for Taekwondo, you would have to be certified with like Kukkiwon and have some physical education degree. When it came to Hapkido, you would have to have a certificate from this gentleman. Now today, there are 3 or 4 other organizations who have applied to the Ministry of Culture. So now there's about 4 or 5 accepted certificates. Besides the certificate, you really have to stay up on your game to be affiliated with these guys. They're very nice people. His son, Master Steve Suh, right now is one of the major proponents for Hapkido, so we do a lot of training with him. I've went over to Korea to Grandmaster In Sun Suh's school and trained with his son and visited his school. Just awesome people. His brother is the founder of an art called Kuksulwan, and currently he is the founder of the Hanminjak Hapkido Association. Hanminjak means All Korean Hapkido Association. These characters here on the side that you see, Mikukbup-in, basically means government certified. The Korean characters say Seikei Hapkido Hyuphoi, World Hapkido or World Kido Association or Federation, Hanminjak Hapkido Musul Hyuphoi. So Hapkido Martial Arts Association. So they cover 31 different styles of Hapkido, maybe Kuksulwan. Our school in particular has a background in a little bit of Sun Mu Kwan and Mu Kwan Hapkido. That may be a lot of information, but Kwan means just a gym. So there's 31 different Kwans normally in Hapkido, and now today actually people are founding and creating their own Kwans. I don't choose to do that, I just say Hapkido because I think that word alone covers a big variety of different things, and you know, what could I create that could come close to what this guy and this guy have put together? I've just chosen to try to carry on their legacy. Basically approving Royal Martial Arts. At the time we were Royal Martial Arts College as a authentic Hapkido school. We had to travel and visit with Grandmaster and Sansa to receive the certificate. You cannot apply or pay money, or once again, these organizations are nonprofit. So they will not sell you a certificate. In order to deal with them, you have to go in front of them and actually perform. And on the other side over here, we have actual Dan certificate. I am only a second Dan in Hapkido, but I've been training Hapkido since 1994. So I will be upgrading soon. But rank is not so important in Hapkido, I think. It's more about the relationships. And we've been very fortunate to travel back and forth to Korea and meet people who are actually, you know, in a little bit of the higher society of Hapkido. And just the little things we learn when we're with them are very important to help keep that legacy going. Once again, I don't think there's a better Hapkido or a lesser Hapkido. I think it's all what works for the person. And I like Hapkido because, first of all the things that you find in martial arts, kicking, punching, throwing, grappling, breathing techniques for internal energy and things like this are all covered in Hapkido. Weapons, the mental side. Hapkido has a unique philosophy. So pretty much, I think Hapkido is the real mixed martial art, actually, in my opinion.
You mentioned that you were named an ambassador or served as an ambassador. Can you explain what that's about?
Yeah, well, the ambassadorship is actually for Taekwondo for this fraternity here called the Jeto Kwan. The circles in the middle signify, the big one signifies the earth. The small one signifies the human on the earth. And basically, Jidokwan translates to way of knowledge, right pathway, or house of discipline, which you'll see a lot of Taekwondo schools have adopted that name. Maybe you'll see it in their gym. And Jidokwan was famous for producing most of the world's champions from the 60s all the way up to the 80s, and actually even now. Even a lot of champions don't know their instructors come from the Jidokwan. Ernest Lee, one of the first American champions to actually win in Korea, comes from the Jidokwan. Moon Dae-sung, who just won recently in the Olympics. Steven Lopez has Jidokwan roots. He's an Olympic gold medalist. Many, many famous people. But when you go to Korea, the Jidokwan is not a style. Everybody just does whatever they've been taught by their teacher. We regard the Jidokwan as like a friendship club. So it's more of a training spirit and an attitude towards martial arts rather than a type of way to punch or kick.
And explain the final one.
The World Taekwondo Federation, this is some education for a lot of people out there who may not understand. The WTF is a sports organization. It represents the sports side of Taekwondo. The WTF does not issue any type of rank certificate. They never have, they never will. So you'll hear many people say, I'm a World Taekwondo Federation black belt. Maybe a little misleading. Even though you see certificates with the logo on it, those are personal made. The only Taekwondo body that can issue an actual Dan certificate that's accepted in South Korea is the Kukiwan. Kukiwan is in charge of martial arts like forms, breaking, curriculum, teaching philosophy. The World Taekwondo Federation, they handle sports. They govern the national governing bodies for Taekwondo as a sport. This office used to be located inside of the Kukiwan, so many people for years have thought that they were the same. But if the WTF stopped existing today, the Kukiwan is a total separate. They have total, but they work together. So that's what that is. And many of the high-ranking members that are on committees that help propagate Taekwondo all over the world, a lot of them come from these 9 different fraternities, one of the most elite being the Jeto Kwan. And still today, you see that influence all over in karate and everywhere. It's a super duper club. So a lot of nice guys. Most of the people that are members of Jeto Kwan, most of the time the reputation is they're really good fighters. Never got to meet Master Lee, but however, since a young man and being appointed as an ambassador for Jeto Kwan, I definitely know of Master Lee, Grandmaster Lee, as they call him in South Korea. He was the first American to attain a black belt from the Jeto Kwan under President Lee Chong-woo. who many credit with basically being the creator of Taekwondo as you see it today, the V-neck uniform, Olympic sport. He was the main, rather tall for a Korean. But anyway, Ernest Lieb was certified by him, and Ernest Lieb was the first. It doesn't even matter about being American or German. He was the first foreigner actually, in South Korea that actually beat the Koreans at their own game. He was already doing that in the 60s. So when he came here to the United States, he was a pioneer of Taekwondo. At the time, it was called karate because people were more familiar with that. But either way, Taekwondo is related to karate. Karate is related to Taekwondo. There's a different type of Taekwondo now, but Ernest Lieb is definitely one of the greatest champions. If you want to know more about him, I would advise anybody to go to taekwondohalloffame.com. I believe that he's a member of many different, he's been inducted into Martial Arts Karate Hall of Fame. He's the founder of American Karate Systems, which is well known in the martial arts community. And he's a pioneer. Many people in Taekwondo, many foreigners, not from Korea, so to say, owe him a lot. A lot of respect because of what he done. He gained the respect of the Koreans, and he showed that they weren't the only ones that could, any of us are capable of learning and doing it like they could do it if we trained hard and stayed loyal to our teacher. And that's my take on Ernest Lieb. And then I'm happy because he's Jidokwan, so one of the pioneers of Taekwondo and karate in the United States is a Jidokwan guy, and I'm an ambassador, so that makes me, very happy to be a part of that. Any of the things to protect and preserve the liberties and justice in our country or our way of life, Hapkido is a very good art for that. There's many different ways of dealing with conflict. It's not just our Hapkido. There's many different types of Hapkido. But I advise Hapkido simply because, let's say you're in security or you work privately. If you always block and punch somebody, maybe you'll get sued, or also maybe, just blocking and hurting somebody may not be what you want to do. I think the best warrior is the warrior who doesn't have to fight at all. And actually some Hapkido techniques allow you to disarm a person and maybe stop them from hurting themselves. You can follow through and finish, or you could just subdue them and hold them until help can come. And I think that's why that art is very fitting for people in that type of background. So I would seek out any true Hapkido person or true Hapkido master or teacher for guidance in that area. And other arts as well, but it seems like Hapkido has been geared. I think the reason Hapkido is so geared towards that is because, unlike a lot of the other arts, the government in Korea is behind Hapkido. When you have the government behind a martial art, you have money behind the martial art, which means you have research. Okay, it's not just some private person and their one philosophy. You have committees, you have many different opinions, so you tend to go a little further. And Hapkido is built on that foundation. So many people mistake it. They think, oh, well, Korea, you gotta be with them in order to know real Hapkido. Well, there's no such thing as real Hapkido. There's just people who train hard and train and maintain relationships so they learn more, and there's people who may not want to work as hard and want to create and be the top of something. Either way, I would always advise somebody to seek out people that keep a relationship close to Korea with Hapkido, because they seem to have the techniques that actually work, and they show you the little bit of details that you just can't get from DVDs, or you just don't get from instructors who didn't stick around with their teacher long enough to actually know some of the finer points of those techniques. And you go to use them in a self-defense situation and they fail you, it can be bad. So, as far as I'm concerned, martial arts is the conditioning for all. Nobody rides the bench in martial arts. That's what I like about it. So many times in our culture, everything is so competitive. Many of our sports, you're good because somebody else loses. You're the winner, or you have a team, and there's one person being pushed up on top and carried around. And that's great, I love that. Everybody dreams of having that, but let's face it. In order to have a better society, you have to be a warrior with the pen and the sword. And I think that martial arts calls on people to be intellectuals, but it also calls on you to not be lazy. You have to get your body involved. You have to do essential things that are required in life. You need to treat your dad and your mom well in order to get the inheritance from them so you can carry on the legacy for your family. Well, you have to treat your instructor. In martial arts, we have manners. You have to treat your seniors well. You have to treat people that are above you well in order to maintain and grow in martial arts. And so I think it delivers everything. It deals with interaction between humans on a level of mental, ethical values. But at the end of the day, you can't just be a talker. You have to physically get up and be able to do things. So it's like we use our bodies and we have to use our minds, and I think that's the best way of doing things. You know, not just being really, really strong, but no brains, not being all brains and books, but, you know, don't want to break a sweat or you're too good to hit the mat. So young, old, black, white, Indian, whatever. Hapkido, you put a uniform on. Karate, you put a uniform on. We tie the belt, and we're just martial artists. We have to bow to somebody that's a higher rank. Maybe I'm a doctor. Maybe they work at 7-Eleven, but he's a black belt. I have to respect him. Then we learn that all these things that we think always make us maybe better to somebody, we're all just humans. And I think that's what martial arts does. It brings out the human side, the kindness. But at the end of the day, you can protect yourself too. So if everybody was confident in themselves, nobody would feel the need to put other people down. You'd only want to help people. So that's one thing I think martial arts, that why the other sports and other things don't have anything on martial arts and why it should be in all the elementary schools is because it's the confidence. Nobody rides the bench in martial arts. Nobody can use excuses. Your kick may be this low, but it's still your kick. You still have to lift your foot and do it. You know, so I can't come over and pick your foot up for you. So basically it makes people put action into, you know, into the things that they want to do. So that's why I love martial arts, and that's why I think it's such a great thing, and it's the conditioning for all.